we'll make it this. So wait, he's not even diving into haystack. Where's the haystack? I think maybe it's there. Anyways, why I chose this is because I believe it's easy. I mean, easy for me, but yeah, I believe it's easy to explain mainly. It's not super complex, but also visually it's kind of appealing and cool. You know, having your character like in a game, you know, dive from a high place into this like perfect haystack and stuff. And so we're gonna make this. We're gonna do it in Unity as always. We're gonna see how the functionality of this works, and also potentially show some ways on how you can do the animation for it in a more dynamic way, because it does require some dynamic parts, because the player can jump from different heights and stuff like this, whatever, blah blah blah. Let's get straight into it and first look at some gameplay video to understand the mechanic better. Oh, I think he died. This is the mechanic we'll be remaking. You dive, blah blah blah, blue, whatever. So let's analyze it a bit better. Let's pretend these are different platforms you can jump from. So there's a character. You know, this rough spot in front of us. So it's gonna be in front of us like this. This spot doesn't have a haystack. That's the first thing. And how do we do that? I think, and I believe, a easy way to do so is to just do raycast this way to make sure that there's nothing blocking in front of us, because if there's a wall here for some reason, then I don't think we should, like, we have to first climb the wall, but we don't have climbing. But anyways, you cannot jump directly to the haystack, and that's why we have this raycast here, to make sure that there's enough of a clearance in front of us. And then we do another raycast downwards like this. It doesn't have to be a raycast, it could be a sphere cast, but we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna keep it a raycast, and so we're gonna see if we hit a haystack here. If we didn't, I'm sorry, you're gonna fall to your death. But if you did and you press jump, it's gonna play this cool animation where you're gonna go like this. So let's say here, maybe this is a more suitable area where you can actually land in the haystack. You know, the raycast, if you do raycast like this, then down here, okay, we found a haystack, excuse me, and so, whoop. And obviously the raycast will be in the direction of moving on the player, because if you're moving this way, obviously you cannot then press jump and then land here. That doesn't make sense. So you have to, we raycast in front of the player, then for a certain distance, then from that point we raycast downwards. If the first raycast doesn't hit anything and the second raycast hits a haystack, we can then just move the player, lerp in it like a smooth way, move him towards the haystack, the center of the haystack, because I believe you always land in the center, because you don't want to be landing here. That would be a fatal place. It would not look good. So we want them to always land in the center, just by lerping directly to the center of a haystack. And then, yeah, once that's done, we get them up and get going. I think that's everything we need. Let's get coding.
Excuse me, guys, it's me commenting later. I'm kind of sick, but who cares? Anyways, so yeah, I started by making a scene, setting up the level. I imported the third-person controller I always use by inverse, whatever they're called. It was working. I had the third-person controller. I wasn't gonna make it from scratch. And then I just set up some blocks for testing the actual jump heights and stuff like this. I gave them some runway so we can do it while running. I put the haystack as another block. I gave it a different color, put it brown, put the other ones blue so I can differentiate them. And yeah, tested it also. You can jump around and just as a third-person controller can. After that, I started working on actually implementing the functionality. First thing obviously is doing the raycasts. So I set up values where I can control how long each raycast is. As you can see, the center of the character was on his feet, and so we had to offset this. And so here I'll explain it quickly. Why we need so is that if we raycasting from the center, we can check if there's any obstacle in front of the player, and if there is, then we don't allow him to dive. But obviously there might be some small obstacles that we want the player to be able to dive over, and so if we always shoot from the feet, every single obstacle, no matter the size, that blocks this raycast won't allow the player to dive. But shooting from the center will allow the raycast to shoot over these small obstacles. Obviously the height of the raycast will control how tall the obstacles are, the ones we can dive over, and if they are higher than the raycast, then we cannot dive. And yeah, you know, anyways. And so here you can see me controlling the actual height. At the beginning I just put it at the center, but you'll see later that I changed it. As for detecting the haystack, as for detecting the haystack, what I did is that I basically added a custom tag to the haystack called haystack, and when I do the secondary raycast, the one that goes downward, if I do hit a object with this tag, then we know we hit the haystack, not raycast, the haystack. And you can see it working here. If the raycast turns green, that means we hit the raycast, the haystack. Bloody hell! If the if the raycast turns green, that means we're hitting the haystack. If it's not turning green, that means we're not, or maybe we're not hitting anything. Regardless, we don't care. And so I added some small obstacles here to kind of give it more like a game-like environment, so we can test different variations. And you can see here how some obstacles are too high, that they are basically higher than the raycast height, and some of them are gonna be then below. Here you can see how if I move the raycast down, it turns from green to red, indicating that you cannot dive over this obstacle. And then here I added a smaller obstacle which I wanted the player to be able to dive over, so they made sure that my raycast is higher than the height of this obstacle. Where you can see here, I was testing it to see if it works. It was a bit too close, so I adjusted it. But yeah, after that I actually started working on the actual controls. Basically we needed to trigger the dive animation and lerp the movement when the player tries to jump but is trying to jump into a haystack. So basically we have to override the default jumping when we are trying to jump into a haystack and actually do our own functionality of diving. So I had to modify the default or the code that comes with the third-person controller for this to actually be implemented. Actually, fun fact, you can actually do emojis in code and print them. And obviously this didn't go as smoothly as intended. A lot of bugs, as you can see here. Nothing goes as intended. But regardless, I continued working on fixing these bugs until I got the result I wanted. As you can see here, this isn't the normal jump. It's actually I'm controlling the jump with a curve, but it's playing the jump animation because I still didn't have the dive animation. After that, since I don't have the dive animation, was me actually hand or keyframe animating this dive animation. It turned out terrible because I'm not an animator, but I wanted something. I wanted to have some visual indicator that the player is diving, and so I animated it quickly. I actually go over the animation again to improve it later on, but yeah, I animated it, exported it, put it in Unity, and plugged it in, and voila! As you can see, it's working kinda. But yeah, not the most beautiful animation. I also ended up editing the animation curves a lot, which these animation curves actually control the interpolation of our dive, basically how it's interpolated, because I'm not using linear interpolation. But yeah, ended up adjusting it a lot until it felt good enough. And once that was the case, here you can see how the diving turned out. I also had to fix a bug where the diving sometimes wasn't happening towards the center of the haystack. And yeah, obviously more bugs that I run into. You can see here animation bugs. After that, what I did was actually I ended up watching references for from Assassin's Creed on how the dive actually was animated in the game, just so I can try and improve the trash I made before. And actually this did help a bit. Again, I'm not an animator, but it was slightly better, as you can see here. Actually that was another bug. Okay, never mind. Well, let's take another look on how it actually turned out. That's actually not it. What is he doing? But yeah, I added this high place to dive from because I thought it would be cool. Why would we make a dive animation and not allow the player to dive from this super high place? But yeah, here is the dive animation. As you can see, it turned out pretty cool, or at least good enough, in my opinion, especially since I'm not an animator. And after some tweaking and improvement, we got this final result. So thank you guys for watching. I really hope you like this video. Look out for another video potentially soon, or maybe never. It depends on how I feel like it. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like, and thank you for watching. Take care.